Lane Tech Girls Volleyball is on the air. After a heartbreaking 3-set loss to DePaul on Tuesday, Lane Tech returns home 2 days later, looking for their first home win of the year and also looking to keep their conference undefeated streak going. But in their way, the Kennedy Crusaders, who know they have a tough task ahead of them, but whose coach say they are ready for tonight's matchup against the Lane Tech champions. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alex Burstein. Above the court here at Lane Gymnasium, we had a very exciting matchup on Tuesday here at Lane, and now it is Lane Tech looking to get that first home win of the year, this time against Kennedy, in what promises to be a very good matchup. The coaching staff of Lane a little more confident heading into tonight's game. Should be a slightly easier opponent, but definitely you cannot take this Kennedy team lightly. They come in with a 4-4 record. They finished second place in an earlier tournament at Westinghouse. They have some good wins, they have some rough losses, but this team has shown they can contend in games, and that is what they are going to try to do tonight against this Lane Tech team, as we have first serve coming up in just about under 5 minutes to until we start here at Lane Gymnasium. It's going to be a slightly earlier start than we were expecting. We were originally expecting a 6 p.m. first serve. However, the JV game went very quickly. Lane Tech's JV team with a dominating win over this Crusaders team, and that was a very good win for Lane after the JV team also had a tough 3-set loss to DePaul. So the JV team was able to reverse their fortunes here this evening, and the varsity team is going to hope to do the same. But anyways, as we were saying, it was a big win for Lane. It went very quickly, and now we're going to get started a couple minutes earlier. Kennedy's just doing their 6 minutes of on-court warm-ups right now. They have about 3:40 left on the clock. There is not a PA address announcer for tonight's game, so instead it is just going to be the teams go out on the court for a second. But other than that, it's going to be a pretty quick process to getting to see these two teams in action. It's going to be a pretty similar starting lineup for Lane Tech this evening. We don't know the exact six because I did not see who won the coin toss between Lane Tech and Kennedy. I guess we'll see that in a couple of minutes, but we do have the 7 players who we should see go out first for Lane Tech. In the front row, it's going to be number 25, Amina Ahmad. Next to her in the middle, it'll be number 12, Brooke Anderson, and then the other Anderson's going to be to her right, number 5, Claire Anderson. In the back row, it'll be number 22, Olivia Crane. Next to her, number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver, and next to her, number 10, Catherine Hong. So that's the same 6 we saw for Lane Tech on Tuesday, and then also their libero for tonight, who's either going to start in or be the first sub to come in, is going to be number 4, Heidi Stauber, who very well could have been the player of the game against DePaul on Tuesday. Just such an impressive performance from Stauber in that matchup. She ended up with 10 digs, but she also got it done serving-wise. 3 aces on the night, which was second most on the team behind Hong, who had 4. But she was getting those aces even when she was not acing the team. She had long runs serving, that she was not letting any good hits be returned on her serves. It was some very impressive stuff from Stauber, and she will be in the 3 spot tonight in the serving order for Lane Tech, and we'll take you through that really quickly. It'll be Catherine Hong leading off in the serving order for Lane Tech. No surprise there. She had 0% of her shots go out. 0% of her serves go out on Tuesday night. It was a very impressive game for her serving-wise. She led off 2 sets serving, and Lane Tech was able to get into 4-0 leads in 2 of the 3 sets, and a big part of that was because of the play of Hong. So she's been very impressive. We'll see her serve first for Lane Tech tonight. In second, it'll be Sarah Thompson, who has been very impressive serving-wise. Head coach Nathan Kwong before the game was saying how she's been impressive serving. She gets the 2 spot. In 3 is going to be Heidi Stauber, who, as we mentioned, had a very good game serving-wise on Tuesday. And then in the 4 spot, it'll be Addison Stoner. And then in the 5 spot, we believe it's Olivia Crane. I forgot to ask. He just gave us first names. That coaching staff just gave us first names with Olivia. However, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Olivia Crane. And then rounding out the serving order for Lane Tech, it'll be number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver. A couple of players who are just on the edge of that. Head coach Nathan Kwong was saying they have a lot of good servers on this team. Those last couple of spots are decided very last minute, and it's just trying to find whoever's going to best suit the game tonight. But there was definitely a couple of players who could have contended for those final couple of spots, but those will be the 6 servers we see tonight. And we're also going to likely see a lot of different players on the court for Lane Tech tonight. They are expecting to have a less competitive, I guess we should say, match here tonight than they had against DePaul, where we really just saw the top players play for most of the game. But we are likely to see, especially in the second set, probably all 15 of the players on the court. We'll see if that holds, but as of now, that is the idea, as players are going to walk off the court here for the Kennedy Crusaders, and we'll do a quick starting lineup thing, and then it's going to be time for first serve here from Lane Gymnasium. As we mentioned, Kennedy coming into tonight's matchup 4-4. They did drop their conference opener. That was last week against Lindblom. It was an 2-set loss to Solorio, the Sun Warriors. So a little bit of a rough loss there, but they found their footing in their next game against not the Sun Warriors. They found their footing in the next game against the Sun Warriors, where they had a 2-set win over Solorio. In their conference matchup, they lost to Lindblom. So back and forth in their last couple of games. It's kind of been that way the whole season for Kennedy. They started with a loss, then they won one, then they lost one, then they won 2, then they lost 2, and then they had their most recent win. So it's been very back and forth so far this season in the win and loss column for Kennedy, but they're going to see what they can do here tonight. Their head coach, Ann Stacy Camilotes, was saying this team has a lot of talent right now. It's just up to them to see what they can do with their talent, and she just hopes their team can kind of realize the skill they have and put it into use here in this very tough Chicago Public Super Conference. Tonight is one night of conference action. There's also going to be some conference action tomorrow night, but coming into tonight, just looking at the conference games, 5 teams alone at the top. That's going to be Jones, Lane, Lindblom, Young, and Washington, all of them with 1-0 starts to the season in conference play. Font Steuben and Northside find themselves at 1-1 on this young season. Kennedy and Hayden at 0-1, and at the bottom right now, it's going to be Brooks, who are 0-2 in conference play, but as you mentioned, still a very young conference season. These teams are going to see each other. These conference teams are going to see each other a lot in the next couple of weeks, and we will see how that plays out as Lane Tech looks to get back to a strong city seed and try to get back to the city championship for this 2022 girls volleyball season. And looks like we're just about ready to go here. It'll be Kennedy's serve to start us off, and we're underway from Lane Gymnasium. A beautiful serve here off the bat from number 13, Amaya Cabral for the Crusaders, as Kennedy gets off to a 1-0 lead. Lane Tech established early leads in every single set against DePaul, ended up dropping 2 of them, but a quick start's going to be big for Lane Tech here today. Claire Anderson goes behind her back there to get across the net. 1-0, the early lead for Kennedy. Both the Andersons tried for the block there, and now the Crusaders will return it. First kill attempt of the day here for Lane Tech, and some excellent play here defensively early on for Kennedy. They dropped the point there off the hands of number 10, Leilani Gutierrez. However, some impressive play here early on from Kennedy. They definitely would be considered the underdog heading into tonight's matchup, but anything can happen in public league play. Yet to see any true kill attempts from Kennedy. That will be interesting to see, as Anderson tries one there, can't get it. And a double block there from Amina Ahmad and Brooke Anderson. They both got a hand on it, and Lane Tech will take their first lead of the day, 2-1. We should say back to serve here for Lane Tech is going to be number 10, Catherine Hong, who's been so impressive serving here, as we see some heat off that serve there, but the Crusaders still able to return it. Anderson tried with one hand to get it over, kind of an awkward angle there for her, and Kennedy will tie it up 2-2. Yolanda Antonio, the senior defensive specialist, will head back to serve here for the first time tonight for Kennedy. Did a good job on their first serve rotation here, as Ahmad tries a soft touch there, can't get it to drop though. And now we'll see Stauber get her first touch of the night. Anderson tries for kill attempt number 2. Can't get it again, and Kennedy will take the lead back 3-2 here. It's kind of a quiet night for Claire Anderson on Tuesday against DePaul College Prep, at least by her usual standards so far this season. As Hahn gives it to Ahmad on the far side. This one off the fingertips of one of the Kennedy players, and Lane Tech will get back in the lead. There was a couple of players who really stood out statistically in that game against DePaul, and one of them is going to be heading back to serve right now. Number 8, Sarah Thompson. She had 9 digs, second most on the team in that victory. Doesn't get a lot of points, but you can tell she has a very big impact on that team, and also just very important as a number 2 server for this squad, as this one drops right in front of the libero. Almost went over, and they're going to give the point there to Amundsen. So a very impressive dig, not to Amundsen, to Kennedy. A very excellent dig there from number 5, Ella Fasula, who's going to check out of the game right after that point. But Kennedy's going to continue to stick in this one early with the 4-3 lead. Fasula was one of the 2 players that coaching staff really mentioned as a leader for this squad. As this one goes off the arms of Crane, and Kennedy will get back to their biggest lead actually here today, 5-3. They had only led by 1 point or tied the game here early on. That's going to be a 2-point lead now here for the Crusaders. Antonio's been excellent serving here for Kennedy. Lane Tech's yet to get a kill in tonight's match. This one played awkwardly off the hands of Kersey, the freshman outside hitter, and Lane Tech will get their service back. 2 players to watch here for Kennedy this afternoon are going to be their freshman and sophomore, both starters. Madeline Kersey, the freshman, and the sophomore, Tali Lopez, who we should both see make some pretty good plays here today, as Ahmad tried for the point there, but just goes a little bit inside of the line. Inside on R. It was outside of the line, I guess you'd technically say. As Kennedy gets back their service pretty quickly here, and heading back to serve, it's going to be the junior, number 8, Claire Clancy. And an excellent serve there. Lane Tech had all 6 of their players around the outside edge of the box for them. They left that middle entirely open, and Clancy sees the opportunity and strikes, and Kennedy now up to a 3-point lead, their biggest here on this early set number 1. Should be a big confidence-boosting set opening win, as Clancy goes hard after she went soft on the first one, but this one's going to sail out, and we will see our first couple of subs into the game here for Lane Tech in the form of number 19, Addison Stoner, and number 20, Campbell Wild. Saw a lot out of these 2 in the game on Tuesday against DePaul. Stoner here gets her first serve into the net. So Kennedy doing a good job of finding a lot of different ways to score points here. Obviously that one they didn't have to do anything, but they're still able to get the point, and their lead back up to 3 here. Crane from the other side. We've seen her work from the left side a lot. She came from the right side of the playing court here for Lane, but she can't get it over the net, and Lane Tech still struggling here early on those outside kills, either having them returned by the Crusaders or having them go into the net. But Lane Tech will luckily get their service back pretty quickly here, as that one sails out far here from Kennedy, as we'll see Claire Anderson check into the game for Sarah Thompson. 9-6 early lead for Kennedy here in set number 1. This one served deep there by Olivia Crane, but still returnable. We'll see Claire Anderson try for another kill there, but that one stopped by a couple of players back there for Kennedy. Copenhagen can't get it either. Now the block, and that one will fall right in front of the net. A nice point there by number 20, Campbell Wild. She's 3rd on the team in total blocks. I don't think that would be considered a block, but still a point, and playing very well there in the front here for Lane Tech early on. Sula gets it over the net for the Crusaders. Anderson on the far side. This kill finds the back of the playing court. Lane Tech has their first kill of the night, and they're back within one. 9-8 here early in set number one. They can get those shots to land. That's going to be very important for them here this evening against Kennedy. The main reason why Kennedy has built up this early lead was because these shots were not landing for Lane Tech, so we'll see if that will be a bit of a momentum booster. Wild tried for a different type of shot there, can't get it to land. She's able to save this one from finding the ground. Anderson just bumps it over. See a lot of movement from these players on the Kennedy side. And here comes the second kill of the day. Back-to-back points here. First from Anderson, then from number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver. And Lane Tech has knotted this one up 9-9 as we're going to see a timeout called by the Kennedy Crusaders. So a very excellent start for Kennedy. They built up the early lead, had 3-point lead for a couple of minutes there, but Lane Tech comes crawling back and has finally looking like they're finding their footing, and that will be a 9-9 lead here now early in set number one. That wasn't exactly a problem Lane Tech has seen a lot this season, just not being able to land any kills. That was a problem through the first. Let's do some quick math here. 16 points of the night. However, they get the last two off of very nice shots from number 5, Claire Anderson, and number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver, to get them back in this game. It's been Olivia Crane back there serving for these last couple of points as Lane Tech has mounted the comeback, and she's actually been doing very good there with getting the ball in play and forcing some uncomfortable shots here from Kennedy as she's going to head back for what she's hoping is another couple of serves here for Lane Tech. Lane Tech in their white jerseys here tonight. White jerseys too, actually, for Kennedy, as the small tip over is misplayed there by Lane. A nice shot there by Claire Clancy. I think she was kind of surprised that one fell as well, but she gets the point. And we'll see a sub here quickly for the Crusaders as number 12, Sarah Zavala, checks in for the first time today, the senior middle hitter. 10-9 lead for Kennedy. Gaveled into the game for Lane Tech, plays it from the back. They've really been getting to Anderson a lot there on the outside part, and another nice point here for Kennedy. That one off the hands of Alejandra Gutierrez. She gets touched for the first time tonight, and the junior able to find the scoreboard too, as Kennedy now looking to open up another little lead here. They've only led by as big as 3, but they've had the momentum almost this entire match. Seems Lane Tech is having maybe some communication problems here. There's been a lot of players cramped into some little areas. They've not spread the ball well. They've not moved the ball well, I should say. And that has led to another 3-point lead here for Kennedy in set number 1, 12-9. As here comes Copenhaver again. And it looks like that might be the strategy Lane Tech wants to go with tonight. Give Kinsey Copenhaver, who's going to head back now to serve for the first time tonight, the ball as much as possible. Copenhaver had an up and down night on Tuesday serving the ball. Got 75% of her shots in on service. As a nice block here from Wild and Brooke Anderson, but Wild can't return it back. And the Crusaders, they don't have a lot of fans here. It's a pretty long drive up from their school. However, their bench is getting loud. The JV team is getting loud here, and they have the playing momentum for sure. 13-10 they lead here in set number 1. Anderson gets it to the middle of the court, but unable to find the ground here. Another block attempt here from both the Andersons, Brooke Anderson and Claire Anderson. That will go down for a point here. Brooke Anderson leading the team in blocks so far this season. 3 on Tuesday. She's up to 17 on the year now. Actually, she's had 2 assisted blocks here, so I guess 18 total blocks now. As Hong back at the top of the service rotation here for Lane Tech. Claire Anderson with another kill attempt and a nice save there by Gutierrez. This one falls a little bit out. And Lane Tech back within 1 here. We've seen Lane Tech be able to keep this within a couple of points. We've seen them be able to tie it up. We've yet to see them be able to take the lead here as an excellent serve there from the junior Catherine Hong. Her first ace of the night, her 16th on the season, and Lane Tech has knotted this one up again. It's just been so helpful to have Hong at the top of the serving list for Lane Tech this season. It's just so easy to put confidence in her when she has the ball in her hands. As Gavaldon, now Anderson. The ball was a little too close to the net for her to do what she was originally planning, it looked like. See if she does that again here. And this one, a perfectly dropped shot to give Lane Tech either their first lead or their first lead since, I think, 1-0. Nevertheless, Lane Tech has taken the lead here now, 14-13 in set number 1. And it really shows when Lane Tech is at the top of their order, when Hong is playing well and they have some of their best players on the court, they can do a lot of damage here, as this one off the hands of Gutierrez, and a very nice serve there from Hong as Lane Tech goes up by 2 for the first time here tonight. Very excellent response here from Lane. We'll see if they can close it out. It's very opposite from what they did earlier this week when they had early leads and then kind of blew them late in sets. Now it seems like they're kind of blooming late in the sets. As this one misplayed off the hands of Fasula, however, the Crusaders still able to return it. Anderson goes with the soft tip, but a nice save there. Now Staubert, it's one of our first digs of the night. Brooke Anderson, a nice punch there, went just off the hands of Lopez. Almost had a very nice dig there, but instead it gives Lane Tech a 3-point lead now, as checking into the game for the Crusaders will be number 7, Josephina Nowotnik. 2 Nowotniks on this team, a senior and a junior. They are sisters, as Gavaldon gets her first ace of the night. And Lane Tech now rolling up to a 17-13 lead, as Kennedy is going to call timeout. So Lane Tech has been working very quickly when they're serving these last couple of points. I was still looking over at the Kennedy side when Gavaldon served that one, and she goes for the ace, her first of the night. So Lane Tech with 2 serving aces early on in this one, but they're keeping the pace going. They do have a slightly larger bench. We'll show you that when these two teams leave their huddles. There's only 7 players on the bench right now for Kennedy, and Lane Tech, I think, should have 9 on their bench. So not a super big margin, but Lane Tech does have the bigger team. That's something to keep in mind as they go through this set, and they're able to sub in possibly more than the Kennedy is. As apologies, folks, that was not Gavaldon on that last ace. That was Hong. We mislooked at that one, so Hong has her second ace of the night, and make that 3 now. It's not even as much the placement that has made Hong's serve so effective there. It's just the speed. It's these Kennedy players finding it so hard to get clean receptions off of these serves. We saw one there from Fasula, and a very nice punch over the net. Got Gavaldon and Stauber on the ground. Neither of them are able to successfully get the dig. And Kennedy finally gets their service back, down by 4 now, 18-14 in set number 1. Kennedy's made it all the way through their serving order as well. As Claire Anderson, working from the opposite side, gets the set here. That's one thing I have not seen a lot out of this Lane Tech team, seeing outside hitters who have played really well from both the left and the right-hand side. We have seen Anderson now with kills from the right and left-hand side. That's definitely something you want to see in your players, as Sarah Thompson plays this one to the middle center. And another block here, assisted by Brooke Anderson, and also Amina Ahmad gets in on the action, but Brooke Anderson showing some excellent force there on the front line for Lane Tech blocking-wise here tonight. That's her 3rd assisted block here. As Thompson with another nice serve here. Crusaders will be able to return it. Some play at the net. And here comes Olivia Crane. Can't get that one in. She's still searching for her first kill. Won't get it there, but will get her first point of the night as Lane Tech now 4 points away from their first set victory. Crane had 10 digs on Tuesday against DePaul. Does not lead the teams in digs. She's second right now, but has really been impressive these last couple of matches for Lane Tech, as a short serve there by Thompson almost caught Kennedy off guard. However, Fasula dived in for the dig. Here comes Crane again. Soft shot finds the ground, and Lane Tech now doing a very good job of trying to close out this set. It's been a very fast set. We started around 6. We're looking at about a 15-minute set number 1. As we mentioned, the junior varsity game was very fast-paced as well, and looks like that's continuing here into the varsity game. Stauber sets up Ahmad on the near side. She finds the back right-hand corner. An excellent shot there from Ahmad. The Kennedy players had seemingly shifted all to their right, which is going to be the left-hand side for Lane Tech players. Ahmad sees the opening and finds it for the kill. Lane Tech now 2 away from set point, as this one flies a little too far off the hands of Sarah Thompson. And Kennedy will get back their service. Fasula checks out of the game. Coming into the game will be number 2, Yolanda Antonio. 2 sport athlete, also a softball player with Kennedy. Gets this serve in. Dig there by Thompson. She gets it over the net all by herself. Very clustered there by Kennedy, but they're able to get it over. Brooke Anderson with a deep push on the ball, but Antonio was there to save it. Crane, a rocket to the back of the court that probably would have gone out. However, Antonio plays it, and it goes right off her arms into the wall, and that's going to make it set point here for Lane Tech in set number 1. It'll be Heidi Stauber, the libero for Lane Tech, looking to try to close it out. This one off the net, just clips the net there. However, Kennedy's able to get it back over. Hong sets it up for Ahmad, who finds it off the hands of a couple of Kennedy players, and Lane Tech, after trailing through the first 15 points or so, is able to roll back, and they roll to a 10-point win here in set number 1. We'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Volleyball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Back here from Lane Gymnasium, a 1-0 lead for the champions over the Crusaders after one set. For those of you who are just joining us, it was a hot start for Kennedy, who came into tonight as the underdog. They were finding their shots, they were having some nice serves, and they had the lead until about, I think, 15-15, and then, or it might have been 12-12, but then we saw Lane Tech really take off, and they take set number 1 by a score of 25-15. So that was one of the things we really did not see out of Lane Tech earlier this week, their ability to close. They were actually, it was quite the opposite. They were not finding the ability to close. This time they start slow and they finish strong, which I guess you would rather have than start strong and finish slow. So good start here for Lane Tech, and they'll see if they can close the job here in set number 2, as we're going to see a couple of new players come into the game here for Lane. It'll be number 7, Maggie O'Brien coming in. Number 9, Rocky Ortiz. Number 3, Olivia Sprinkle. And number 44, Josie Beatty, So a couple of new faces in for Lane Tech as they try to give some more players some playing time here in set number 2. This was the goal all along for head coach Nathan Kwong. He said pre-game the start of it was actually a little rough for Lane Tech. It looked like they might have to stay strong with their starters the full game. However, they showed they can get around this Kennedy offense at the end of set number 1, and now they'll try to carry that in with a couple of new players in set number 2. Believe it is going to be Lane Tech ball to start off this second set as the buzzer rings. Heidi Stauber will check in for Rocky Ortiz. We will probably see Ortiz back in just a second, but since it is going to be the serve for, I think, Lane Tech here, they're going to send Stauber in. Not sure how the serve order is going to change here with the change in roster for Lane Tech here for the second set. It will be Maggie O'Brien back to serve. Currently leads the team in assist with 55 through the first 9 games for Lane Tech. She's also third in aces per set, averaging about half an ace per set that she has played in. Can't get the ace there as the Crusaders return it. Bryan gets it to Stauber. Now Claire Anderson tries for the kill attempt, but can't get it. Lane Tech definitely has the height advantage here as Lane finds the point. However, there's been a couple of nice blocks here by Kennedy through the first set, and now shown through the start of the second set here. Lane has done a good job adjusting to that and finding ways to have points, as now we will see that first ace from O'Brien off the arms of, looked like Nowotnik here on the near side. And Lane off to another one of their signature hot starts to the set. O'Brien again. This one comes booming in, but this time Kennedy's able to play it. Sprinkle. This one punched over and finds the ground. That one was off the hands of number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver, one of the last starters into this game for Lane Tech. They're still playing with her and Claire Anderson. We'll see if those guys stay in for the majority of this set or not. I think we may have seen all 15 players already into the game for Lane Tech. As another point here from Copenhaver. It's been very interesting to see how she plays in this one. She finds a lot of different ways to score. She can be at that net and play kind of that blocker type role, find points just right, going a couple of inches, but she's also had a couple of kill attempts here, as we're going to see another ace here from Maggie O'Brien, who's off to a 5-0 start here for Lane. Very impressive serving here for Lane Tech as they start off set number 2. Haven't seen any rotations here yet for either team, with the long serving rotation for O'Brien, as a nice block there off the hands of Copenhaver and BAT, and Lane now off to a 6-0 lead. We saw Lane get off to a couple of 4-0 leads on Tuesday, but this is definitely their strongest start to a set so far this week. It's very interesting. It's different than how the first set was for Lane Tech. They were struggling through the first 6 points or so, but this time they've found their footing. As an excellent kill there by number 44, Josie Beatty. Team very happy with that. That's just her 4th kill of the year, but she gets the point nonetheless for Lane Tech, and they'll take a 7-0 lead here. This one was played very long off the hit there from one of the Kennedy players. I didn't see there was a couple of players in the area, but it lands, if you guys could see, right there in front of the line. Lane Tech was thinking it was going to travel a little farther. It does not end up doing that, and now we'll see Kennedy serve for the first time this set, down 7-1. They're going to try to make a comeback here in set number 2 to keep this match alive. Anderson with a nice short play, and Kennedy unable to respond. A nice dig attempt there by number 6, Madeline Kersey, but she cannot fully get 2 arms on it. And Lane Tech back in front by 7 here. This has the makings of possibly another quick set for Lane Tech. Claire Anderson back to serve for the first time here tonight. Sprinkle with her first skill attempt, and she gets it down. We didn't see Sprinkle play in the first 2 sets on Tuesday, but she came in and played a role there in the 3rd set. Lane Tech ended up dropping the set and the match. However, Sprinkle was a big part of Lane Tech's points there in the 3rd set. And she gets her first point here today, as now we'll see an ace from Anderson. A soft serve there as Lane Tech off to a 10-1 start here in set number 2. And we're going to see a timeout called by head coach Ann Stacy Camilotes for the Kennedy Crusaders. I think the main thing that Lane Tech has done here differently in the 2nd set, they just kept the ball out of the hands of Kennedy a lot more than they did to start off set number 1. There's not been a lot of chances for them to return the ball. We've seen some aces off the hands of a couple of these players. 3 aces through the first 10 points for Lane Tech. And even when they have been returnable, they're just putting these Kennedy players in awkward positions, which set up some really good shots for Lane Tech. So there have just not been a lot of quality opportunities here for Kennedy to start off this set number 2. Anderson plays this one deep, and Fasula turns around and lets it fly out of bounds. So Kennedy will get their 2nd point. Both of their points here today so far coming off the hands of service errors by Lane Tech here in set number 2, as Sarah Thompson checks back into the game for Claire Anderson. An 8-point lead for Lane Tech early set number 2. Lane Tech ended that set number 1 with a 10-point margin of victory. Some miscommunication there between a couple of the front players for Lane Tech, and it ends up dropping for a Kennedy point. This will be their first 2-point scoring run of set number 2. Good drop. Rotnick with the serve there. Sprinkle, a booming kill attempt there. Can't get to find the ground here. She'll try again. This time goes a little bit softer, but finds the edge of the court. A beautifully placed shot there by the junior, and Lane Tech back on the scoreboard, up by 8. We'll see Copenhaver back here to serve. She was 6th in the serving order in set number 1. She moves up to 3rd in the serving order here for Lane Tech in set number 2. One returnable off the hands of a couple of Lane Tech players there in the front, and they're going to give the point there to Kennedy. So Kennedy trying to work their way back into this one. Not as dominant of a last couple of points here for Lane Tech as it was to start off the set, but we'll see if they can return well here. Scoreboard shows 11-3. Pretty sure it should be 11-4 here for Kennedy. We'll see if they switch that as Sprinkle finds a net here to give another point here for the Crusaders. Kennedy has done a good job here today off the serve of Yolanda Antonio. As this one finds the corner, an excellent point there by Josie Bietti, junior, who did not play at all on Tuesday, getting some playing time here in set number 2. She checks out of the game alongside O'Brien, as Stoner and Wild will check back into the game. So Lane Tech doing a lot of substitutions here in the 2nd set of play. Stoner plays this one to the back. Fasula able to get some hands on it. And Stauber setting up the set here for Wild, who finds the back of the court. We haven't seen as many powerful shots here from Lane Tech today, but I will say their placement has been very impressive. The players on the front row have done a very good job of locating these Kennedy habits, where they are, where they aren't, and they've just been finding the open ground here a lot as Stoner plays this one to the back. 13-5, Lane Tech with the lead over Kennedy. Set number 2, a 1-0 lead for Lane Tech in this match as they look to get back on a winning note heading into a big weekend coming up this Saturday as Olivia Sprinkle with her second kill there. That one almost just as powerful as her first one. Some serious strength there on these hits from the junior. Stoner back for yet another serve. She's had a nice run there. This one off the tape. Both teams able to play it though. Wild comes from the outside, unable to find the ground. And they're going to give the point to Lane Tech. So as we were mentioning, it is a big weekend coming up here for Lane. They have 5 games on Saturday at the Layton Invitational. They're going to face off against DePaul again to start off the day. They have games against Willowbrook, Conant, as an ace here by Stoner. Excellent job finding the back. As we're saying, Conant, Proviso West, and Layton. So some tough matchups there in the Invitational, and they'll try to get back on a winning note. Hypothetically, they could get above 500 if they're able to win a couple of those matches on Saturday. They'll head in, if this result holds, at a 4-6 record as Stoner throws this one into the net, and Kennedy will get back within 10 here. Back to serve will be Clancy, the junior setter. She's had a couple of points off her serve here today. This one played deep, but Stauber gets some hands on it. Wild from the other side. Unable to complete the dig there was number 6, Madeline Kersey. And Lane Tech back in business here, up by 11. They're just 8 points away from a quick victory here on Thursday night. This is one of 4 conference matchups going on this evening. Washington was taking on Peyton at 5, and then a pair of other 6 p.m. games as Sprinkle serve goes far to give Kennedy back service. That was Jones taking on Lindblom and Whitney Young taking on Youngside. That Jones at Lindblom matchup is definitely one to keep an eye on, because that means another one of the undefeated conference teams will be eliminated here tonight. As an excellent kill there by Claire Anderson. She had some trouble landing her kills at the start of the first set, then finally was able to get a couple of big ones in the first set, and now another one here in set number 2 as Lane Tech back out to an 11-point lead. Heidi Stauber with a soft serve there to return a ball though, and trying for the kill and getting it is number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver. That would have been an excellent dig there for Kennedy, but just too strong off the arm for Copenhaver. From Copenhaver, I should say, and Lane Tech now off to a 12-point lead. Stauber back there served a little too quick for the first referee's liking. So there, she's going to have to redo it. As you mentioned, Lane Tech has played excellently off her serve. She's trying some very soft ones here as Anderson just pokes this one over and gets Lane Tech to the 20-point mark. We have seen some stronger serves off of her arms this week, but we can see there is definitely a little bit of a hole there in the front zone for Kennedy, as she goes with the booming one there, and unable to stop it is Alejandra Gutierrez. Just as we were talking about the strength that Stauber has, she shows it there, and the lead now up to 14 for Lane Tech, who are closing in on a very quick victory here on this Thursday night. Stauber, another soft one, just going back and forth between those two types of serves. Stoner sets it up for Anderson, and a nice block there in the front by number 15, Cabral, and one other player who left too quickly for us to see, but Cabral gets a nice assisted block there, and checking into the game will be Zavala here for the end of set number 2. Back to serve, it's going to be Fasula, one of the senior leaders on this squad. Stoner sets up for the soft touch there by Copenhaver. Copenhaver has been very impressive here in set number 2. Lands the shot, and now a 22-8 lead for Lane Tech, as we'll see couple of players check in for Lane. This will possibly be their final rotation. It's going to be Maggie O'Brien back to set, and we saw Lane Tech get off to a 5 or 6-0 lead this set with her serving. So very good chance they close the set on her serve as well. As that one was going far, but Stauber decides to play it, and O'Brien was falling on the ground there. Vietti was trying to be a good teammate and pick up her teammate O'Brien, but ends up giving up on the ball instead, and it will give a point to Kennedy, who has now cut it to a 13-point set, but this one a little too far off the arm of Amaya Cabral, and a 14-point lead for Lane. Claire Anderson back to serve for Lane. We saw an ace from her first time in the serving rotation this set. Plays this one deep. And Tech knocking on the door of a 2-0 conference start. Olivia Sprinkle punches this one over and gets the point. And Lane Tech now finding themselves at match point. So their margin of victory in set number 1 of play was 10. This would be a 16-point win if they're able to get it here. Anderson plays this one a little too short, and Kennedy will stay alive in this one as they reach the double-digit mark in set number 2, 24-10. Kennedy will be back in action on, actually tomorrow, at home against North Grand. They have a busy 2-day stretch here. So one play to the right-hand side. O'Brien sets up Sprinkle. It's a little too far for her for a kill attempt, but she is able to hit it over. Anderson keeps this one alive. Now Olivia Sprinkle finds the back of the court, finds the floor, and Lane Tech will take this one 25-10. 25-15, 25-10 is your 2-set victory for Lane Tech on this Thursday evening. A dominating performance. They had some troubles there at the start of the first set, but some excellent adjustments from this team that gets them the victory. Lane Tech in the JV and varsity doubleheader. They get 4 wins in 4 sets as a very excellent night here for Lane Tech girls volleyball. As you mentioned, Lane Tech is going to be back in action on Saturday with 5 games at the Leyden event this weekend, and then next week it will be back to conference action for them. We will be back on the call for what should be possibly the most fun game of the year for this Lane Tech squad. Rivalry action against Whitney Young. Whitney Young has dominated that series as of recent, but Lane thinks they have a chance this year against what is looking like to be another strong Whitney Young team, so that should be a fun one. Should be a very good crowd for that game. Before that, though, Lane Tech will play at Jones next Tuesday. As you mentioned, Jones is another one of those teams undefeated currently in conference. So next week, the conference schedule ramps up a lot for Lane Tech. They had some challenge matches, but were able to get good wins against Brooks and Kennedy, who have not won a game in conference yet. Next week, they're going to play some teams that should be contending for a conference title. So it's going to be a much different week for Lane Tech next week, and we will see how they respond. That's just about going to do our coverage here on this Thursday night. A dominating win from Lane Tech. Nice efforts all around. Kennedy was playing well early, but just unable to stop the height and power of this Lane Tech team as the champions roll to their 4th win on the season. Now just 2 games under 500 on the year. That's just about going to do it for us tonight. Your final score from Lane Gymnasium: Lane Tech 2, Kennedy nothing. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.